Okay, here we are. It's Jason Carter and Adam Bronson of Epic Outdoors. We're a couple of the owners here at Epic. We've got an awesome crew. We've got Chris Peterson, John Peterson. Ames is a good secretary of ours, and then Jeff John we brought on. He's a full-time hunt consultant that we brought on full-time. He's moving his family down here to Cedar. Started Epic several years ago with license application service, where we actually applied guys, and we've been doing their applications. They've trusted us to apply them across the West for some of the best tags, gain points for them, and find hunts that best utilize find hunts for them that best utilize their points. But anyway, to add to those services, we went ahead and added everything, the magazine. We find hunts, tags, anything to do with Western big game. We find guys, outfitters, if they draw tags if they want, or just if they want to lean on some of our knowledge that we've gained by hunting the West and all the different states, as well as talk to some members that have drawn it in the past. So anyway, we're way excited about it. We started doing the magazine in December. December 1st was our first publication, where it was the December magazine. And then we've just barely come out with the January magazine. And as we do these magazines, they're monthly. And Adam and I go through, we do a ton of research. We've hunted all across the West. We've been fortunate to draw some amazing tags. We've also guided and accompanied some of our friends on some amazing tags, and just have a ton of experience hunting the West. That's all we do. Adam and I, John, Chris, everybody here, Jeff, John, we just strictly specialize in Western big game hunting, Canada, Alaska, and Mexico. So anyway, so here we are. We got the January magazine. As we go throughout the first 6 months of the year, we crunch all the data for all the Western states and go through all the different species, drawing odds, kill percentages, best units, not so best units, but anything to do with Western big game, mostly antlered. Don't cover bear too much, don't cover lion too much, but we do have outfitters for those species as well. So anyway, just that was a brief introduction. We're excited to be here. This is what we do. This is what we've done for years. We've consulted and dealt with hunters for 15, 20 years, and this is all we know. This is what we've been doing full-time for a long, long time. Of course, some of you may know I've been on Ridge Reaper TV show with Under Armour that was owned by Under Armour. Continue to be contracted with them, and they will be filming some of my hunts. And Epic, we will be filming some of our hunts as well. Ab and I both, as well as the boys, on the different draw tags and opportunities that we come across. So be looking. We're going to have some more stuff coming up on YouTube with some of our awesome adventures and some big animals that we've been following across the West, and some of the animals we've actually let live for this year, and so they can grow up and be bigger. But anyway, so Adam Bronson here. Adam, maybe, you can tell us a little bit about yourself, but Adam was a biologist for the Utah Game and Fish forever. He had a master's in wildlife biology and then continues to hunt all across the West and is one of Utah's premier outfitters.
Thank you, Jason. Anyway, well, this January issue, like Jason's alluded to, is pretty cherry looking. First off, I'd just like to point out the cover recipient, which is Russ Elms from Oregon. Very cool story in here about Russ Elms. Russ actually drew his Wyoming bighorn tag this year, and then in the summer, believe it or not, he drew the Wyoming super tag trifecta, which there's an ad in the magazine for that. Another way, very long shot odds, but obviously Russ is living proof of real people drawing this and having an exceptional and epic hunting fall based all around a couple of draws. He's the only person I personally know of that's drawn 2 sheep tags in one state in 1 year. He drew a regular hunt and then won the trifecta hunt, and he got to pick 3 species, and he picked another bighorn sheep. And you can read all about that in this issue. And like I said, tickets for the Wyoming Super Raffle and the trifecta, they're due January 3rd. Long shot odds, but somebody's got to get it. Russ is living proof of that. He's a great guy, hardworking guy. I actually met him when one of his friends came to Utah and drew at Rocky Mountain Bighorn Sheep Hunt here 4 or 5 years ago. Super humble, hardworking guy. We've known him for years as well. So congratulations, Russ Elms, being on our January cover.
Yeah, it's awesome. Russ ended up having just an incredible experience. Killed one with his bow, didn't he?
He did. Yep.
And then he went in and killed this one that's on the cover with a rifle. And Russ is a super good dude. He's hunted all across the West. We've known him from 15 plus years ago, and know that he's a serious hunter. And it just couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Really proud to put him on the front cover. So there are opportunities that you can draw a couple of sheep tags. Like, for example, you could possibly do a California bighorn and a desert in the state of Nevada. But honestly, that is very, very rare. But two Rockies, same species, same state, it just doesn't happen.
In most places, you legally can't even do it. This is just one of those. I know that was the first question that I asked Russ when we talked to him in the summer when we saw his name announced is, well, they going to let you hunt too? And he says, they said I could. This doesn't affect, ability to hunt another sheep. So
yeah,
no brainer. You're going to pick another sheep on one of those three species.
Absolutely. So anyway, when we get started in this issue, we do have a wolf hunting section that we put in there. The nice thing about hunting wolves is the best time to hunt them, and Adam and I have both killed one, is in the winter. I mean, when there's not else going on. I mean. Other than you killed a coos deer just recently.
Yeah.
So Adam just killed a coos deer in Arizona, killed a freaking stud, heavy, big, eye-guarded, 115-plus inch deer. Just, 2 or 3 days ago?
Yeah, a couple days ago. But, yeah, like you said, though, we're all itching for something to do. Deer and elk are starting to shed in a lot of places, and wolves are one of those things you can hunt, 6-8 months, and not an easy thing to do. You got to be prepared to get your butt kicked, but you can't kill one if you're staying home either. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Adam and I have both been up to Idaho. We've howled them, called them, glassed them, killed them, watched them chase elk. We've seen the remnants of elk that they've ate, and so the old boneyard, what we called the boneyard. In here, you'll see Tyler Wayman, Idaho wolf. His particular wolf is a beautiful, beautiful wolf. I actually was up in Idaho and seen this wolf's track going down the road. And then later on that day, Tyler's a really good friend of mine. I didn't know it, but later on that day, Tyler took that same road, got up on the mesa, and had this wolf at like 200 yards and just crushed him. So anyway, it's awesome. Congrats to Tyler, Jim, and everybody else that we've featured in here. Aaron Bronson, Adam's brother, he's killed a beautiful black you can see in there. And so there is good wolf hunting opportunities. There's plenty of wolves. They're quite a trophy, even though we hate them. They kill all our antlered game. Yeah. I mean, we hate them, but we love them when you kill them because they are quite a cherished trophy.
Very, very hard to get.
So anyway, as you go throughout this magazine, you're going to find we cover a few of the state auction, raffle, and special different tags that to apply for, and the different places that you can go to buy tickets for them and who might sell them and the venues.
Yep. Again, not great odds, but we talk to the guys every year that draw these. They are real people, not just a stat. They don't just collect your money and never draw somebody. And odds are it's not going to be you or me, but it's going to be somebody.
Yeah, somebody's going to get them.
We play these, based on the species and state that we have personal interest in, and just another way to dream. And the ones that give you real liberal seasons are hard to let pass by just because of the what if.
That's right. And and I've actually drawn an elk and a deer super tag in Idaho. So I'm living proof that you can do those, play some of those raffles and make it happen. Of course, there's auction tags in there as well. As you go through the magazine, you're going to see these guest articles by the biologist Rick Langley from the Arizona Game and Fish. Really appreciate the Arizona Game and Fish working with us. We've dealt with them for years. They know who we are, and they're super, super nice when we need things like, maybe a different type of drawing odd breakdown or whatever kind of data that they can provide us with that might help us and our members in the state breakdowns. But Rick did a phenomenal job. He talked about some of the different management and opportunities there. I met Rick at one of the commission meetings there 15 plus years ago probably. And a super good guy, and really appreciate him taking the time. This is just off of the Arizona Game and Fish, allowing one of their employees to reach out to the public and to show that they are pro-hunting. They do want to talk to us hunters. It's not just them in a office by themselves doing whatever they want and not really caring about hunting or hunters, and they do. In fact, Rick himself is a hunter. He was accompanying one of his buddies on a sheep hunt while he took his laptop in the truck with him on his own personal time. So Thank you, Rick. Really appreciate the Arizona Game and Fish for that. Where you're going to see a lot more biology articles coming up. We've got a good relationship with a lot of guys here in Utah and different states. And so even in the February issue, we got a great, awesome article by a good friend of ours. So anyway, that was a great addition. And then it took us right into the Arizona section. And, of course, Adam draws an antelope tag this year and proves that guy can beat the odds. Doesn't have to have max points, a lot less than max, in fact, and drew an awesome tag. Tell us about that.
Yeah, antelope for me, probably Jason too, they don't mean the most when, as far as western big game species go by. But, when you think of Arizona, it's kind of like, well, you're already buying the license, and for 15 more bucks, you get to just add other species. And so for probably the last 8 or 10 years, I've done antelope. Well, just lightning struck. I drew a tag. Happened to be a great moisture year. I drew unit 10, which is arguably one of the top 2 or 3 probably trophy units in the state. Top 5 for sure. And went down in August and did a bunch of scouting, kind of inventoried bucks, and was fortunate to go down 2 or 3 days before the hunt and relocate some of them and kind of settle on the one that I thought kind of had what I wanted, which was kind of a good, he's a good mix of height and mass and prongs, and killed him opening day and came home.
A good mix of height, mass, and prongs equals an 87 incher. So anyway, Adam, he did the pre-scouting, went back and found him, knocked him down.
Opening day, yeah.
And killed a world-class goat. So,
very fun.
How can you beat that? And luckily, I've, over the course of, years, I've drawn like Unit 1, Arizona early rifles, archery, killed some really good bulls, 350-plus bulls with on both tags. So, we're kind of a fan of Arizona, even though it is tough to draw a tag in Arizona. The way they've changed their draw system, and maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that. Of course, since Adam kind of looks like he possibly took advantage of that draw system by drawing with less than max, but random guys can draw tags with less than max points.
It is probably a fair way to be issuing their tags. In a lot of the more premium elk units and deer units, the non-resident quota was all being met in the maximum point draw, and so there was no random tags left for non-residents in the random portion. And so Arizona Strip, all the very best archery elk units in the state, you needed X number of points or you had 0 chance to draw. And on the Strip, that was maybe never going to change for 20, 25 years.
Exactly.
Well, now you have a chance. Any year, anybody can draw. I mean, I know 13, 14-year-old kids that drew Strip and 12B late, Clint's boy, and a 13A. Yeah. 2 kids under 14 that drew the best deer hunts in Arizona last year after this change.
That's right.
And like I said, it's probably a fair way. Now, if you're one of those guys in the maximum deer point,
you're a little frustrated.
You're upset because your weight essentially doubled.
Yes. And now, on that, though, they do give, up to half go to people with max points, and then the other half we get up to. So actually, technically, residents could draw part of those, and we might only be issued 5% of the tags through the max point pool.
It's just like a unit with 100 tags and a potential non-resident quota of 10. No more than 5 could go into the max point draw, and then up to the other 5 could go in the random draw. And they normally do because we have a lot of applicants, non-residents do. There's probably a few rare instances where it might be, 93-7 or something like that. But normally we're going to meet our 10%.
So anyway, so with that change, allows us all to be able to apply for some of these early rifles, maybe some of the archeries that are really tough to get, and you only have a couple of points you could possibly draw. So definitely a state that we recommend applying for. Cheap to apply. You got the cost of the non-refundable hunting license and a minimum point fee, to apply for them. So.
Don't have to front the tag fees unless you draw. You pay for them, and if you see that come out of your card, that's a good thing.
We're a huge fan of the archery elk hunts this year. This last year, the rut hunts were tough across the West. It seemed like that. Even Utah, all of the different states. I mean, Nevada, I know for a fact, very minimal rut. People were like, "Are the cows even getting bred?" Well, we know they are, but it was brutal. It was hot, dry, miserable. Some early dates depending on the state. So this year, we're going to have the dark of the moon, dirt right smack dab in the middle of the archery hunt. So September 15th to the 28th is the archery in Arizona, and it is going to be awesome.
A lot of people, including myself, and I know we're eyeing those archery dates pretty hard this year. So.
Yep. So if you see Adam draw another tag, it's probably going to be an archery tag in the state of Arizona. and maybe even Mulder. Who knows? He's got a few points there too. So that is an awesome opportunity. Trying to think here. We've taken advantage of the archery elk. I've killed a bull there in Unit 1. It was great. Unit 1 has lots and lots of elk. There are multiple units that are excellent. This year, the moisture, and Adam, of course, was down there recently. The moisture, wouldn't you say, how can it be better? How could it be better?
For January, which there's a lot of winter and spring to go, but you can't say it can be any better than it is right now. And that's for southern Utah, Nevada, I mean, almost the west wide. Now, in some places, we're doing too much snow, which we might have other issues with regard to wintering deer and antelope, but just for moisture falling from the sky, it seems like west wide, there's nobody lacking right now.
That's right, yeah. We're even hearing reports, of course, we're getting off on a tangent, but, you know, Gunnison's got way more than they should. We're nervous about their deer. They're in Colorado, Wyoming, Oregon, Idaho, northern Utah. So, but that makes it here in the lower part of the western states, you know, southern Utah, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico. They don't have winter kills in these areas. The deer can escape that and keep going further south in lower elevations. So, which will make it to where the antler growth should be exceptional. I just cannot see how there could be a drought year with as much moisture as we've had this early. Can you?
No.
So as you kind of scroll through this magazine, you'll see some stories there. We really appreciate our members and the stories that you guys have submitted. Hopefully you like the way that John and Chris have designed them. They're beautiful. They're awesome. You'll see Pat Loescher's bull in there from Arizona. I mean, it's a freaking monster. And Pat's a dang good hunter. Didn't really expect anything less, but it did take him dang near to the last day. Pat, it was a tough archery hunt, but he did get it done. And he's a good guy, and really appreciate him as well as everybody else that submitted. So there in Wyoming, we did cover Wyoming as well. We didn't cover every species.
We left out the deer and the antelope, since for non-residents and residents, they've pushed the non-resident deadline till May 31st. So does the snow do a better service by putting that off till the May issue when we alluded to the winter kill? That's one primary reason. If we, wrote it right now, we might be saying, hey, go to Region G, go to Region H, it's never been better, which it's been really good the last few years, but next 2-3 months could answer a lot, and it might be a little bit more hesitant in terms of telling people to go forward with those plans.
Yeah, so we won't cover those now, but we did cover the sheep and moose, and of course, you can see in there, and it's well worth a look, is to look at how many points you have versus, how many points it takes to draw. And if you don't have that many points, then, and you would like a chance to draw, then you would obviously need to apply for a unit that has a random tag. And we have listed those units in there, which ones have random tags and which ones don't. If you apply for a unit that doesn't have a random tag and you don't have the points required to draw, you're essentially just buying a point and you're fronting the fees for nothing.
That's right.
So keep that. You really need to keep that in the back of your mind. Apply for a random tag if you don't have a lot of points or the points that we listed that takes to draw.
That's right. If you're right on the cusp, we understand trying to get in there and steal one. But if you have 5 points less than what it's taken, stick to the units with sheep, like units 1 through 5, and the moose units that give enough tags to give a random tag, and the elk tags that don't have low numbers of tags too, because some of those, if you don't have max points, you have zero chance to draw. So just glean through the tables so you know that what you're making a good decision on how you apply. Otherwise, you're just lending them money for a month or 2 or 3 for
nothing.
No reason.
Okay, and then that kind of brings us to the mountain goat of Wyoming. We covered those. There are no points associated with mountain goat, and the drawing odds are some of the best we've found in any western state. You'll see 3-1 on the first hunt. The odds are 1 in 40. The second hunt, 1 in 24. Like, it doesn't get better than that. There are some mountain goat hunts there in Idaho that do have some pretty easy drawing odds, and even Colorado does too, but well worth applying for the goats there in Wyoming. Probably one of the most talked about species in the state of Wyoming, well, the most talked about species is elk. And Wyoming is literally covered up in elk. There's a ton of units to choose from. But it seems like with Wyoming, there's a lot of issues, whether it be private land, wilderness. Wilderness, you have to hire a guide. Private land, you usually need to get it with an outfitter who's leased it, or pay some kind of a trespass fee if that's available. But the public land units that have good access and no grizzlies
And big bulls.
and big
are-
bulls are either A, non-existent, or a couple of units are your option, and the odds are terrible. Really, really tough.
So we just recommend trying to be realistic. We view Wyoming as a great state for 300 to 340 or 50 bulls, not the 340, 50 plus guys. Even though they have units that produce those, if you're only dead set on those and you don't have max points, for instance, there's some of them don't even give tags for random. So-
Again, you would look at those, and they give 75% of the tags go to people with the most points. 25% go on a random draw, and if there's not enough tags to give a random draw, they don't give one. And so you're wasting your time applying for those type of units if you don't have enough points to draw. But anyway, some of the better units, obviously 54 has been an awesome unit, and in the past, 124 is a desert unit down south, no wolves per se, no grizzlies, and some big bulls, but maybe lower elk densities. Adam's hunted Unit 7, I've hunted Unit 7 with good success. He's done well, his brother's done well. We've been in Units 58, 61, just a lot of different units across the state. But like I say, we've done a good job of putting in here the comments on some of the different things and issues you might be expecting with some of these units, whether it be you need an outfitter, you need horses because it's wilderness, you're going to have some grizzly issues, but we're here to help you. We've got outfitters in all of the different units. I can't hardly think of a unit we don't have an outfitter in. So if there's something you want and you're willing to ride horses, if you had 6 points, we can help you, and you will hunt big bulls. So just give us a holler if you need a little help or guidance on that.
Okay.
Some of these units too, Adam, and you guys have taken advantage of this. You basically draw the rifle tag and then purchase an archery stamp, and you're archery hunting.
Yeah, you can archery hunt usually for the whole month of September. And on many of those units that don't draw any Type 9 or archer only tags, then you roll right into the rifle on either October 1st or October 15th. And, some people, if they're coming from a long ways, you may not have that ability to go do a 7 or 10 day archery hunt and go home for 2-3 weeks or a month and come back. But if you do, keep that in mind. A few of those units you can't do that in, and we've marked those and illustrated those clearly, which ones you can and can't do that. But they don't draw that many really archery only tags in Wyoming, unlike all the other states. So no muzzleloader only elk tags, just rifle everywhere and some archery only. Keep that in mind. But there is, like Jason said, such a wide range of options and limitations in Wyoming. It's not clean and easy everywhere to just apply like Arizona. I mean, you can pretty much apply almost any unit and have the option of self-guided or your guided hunts. You can't have that in Wyoming.
You can't have that, but it's got so many different options. We do recommend applying. You're just going to have to get a little bit creative, and we can help you with that. So anyway, Adam and I are available nonstop. Same with Jeff John. If you need a little bit of consulting, a little bit of help, give us a call. We're happy to visit with you on it. That's what we do. That's what we want to do, and that's our job. This next February publication coming out, we've just got done writing it, and it's off to the printer, and it covers
Utah, Oregon, and New Mexico.
And we really feel strong in those states. I've spent a lot of time in Oregon and all the different units. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them. Adam and I have both killed sheep in Oregon. We're somewhat partial to Oregon, even though it's very tough to draw. It just feels like, it happened.
They were good to us once.
What's that?
They were good to us once.
Yeah, they were good to us, and so it's hard to ignore them. But anyway, I've spent a little bit of time up there, and even though it's probably not one of the best states, in fact, it's one of the worst states when it comes to trophy quality in regards to elk and deer and not antelope, but it's hard for a non-resident to get an antelope. But you'll be able to read all about that in the publication. The Utah, it's a long, lengthy section, but a lot of our general Utah deer units are never been better that we can remember in our legitimate hunting lifetime. Now, when we were kids, these units were awesome too. And of course, we had a late muzzleloader season that was in the rut and some different things that we got to partake in. Went clear back in early 90s, late 80s that were incredible. But we haven't seen that since, and now we've got great deer in some of our general units. And then there's a lot of different options, limited entry, late muzzle in those units that are actually a limited entry type option. So There's a good variety of hunts to apply for and use your points here in Utah. Cheap to apply, cheap hunting license, minimal application fees. And then, anyway, and we covered, of course, New Mexico and all the species in the state of New Mexico. Literally hundreds of different choices to apply for, especially when it comes to elk, where you can mix and match weapons, mix and match opportunities there and different hunts and go for the top of the top and maybe choose something a little bit lesser on your second, third pick. And all three choices are valid before they go to the next guy. So all of this information is covered in our magazine, and we're just looking forward to cranking out the next few months, get the application strategy and season behind us, and start scouting for big animals. So
That's right. But it starts right now. Research, and yeah, if you're interested and you're not a member, just go to epicoutdoors.com, or
Yep.
you can call us 435-263-0777. Join over the phone. But again, it'll be monthly between now and June. There won't be a western state we don't cover. You'll get it roughly a month or so ahead of their application deadline. It's what we do. It's what we live, and we're not going anywhere. So
and you can also, on the January issue that we're covering right now, you can actually view it free. Go to members.epicoutdoors.com, and you can just follow the prompts, download it, check it out.